to show the two of you is proactive versus reactive, okay? So he's spooking at this, okay? He goes here and goes, oh, he doesn't even spook anymore. Okay, let's try this one.
We've got them all the way around. Spooky town all the way around. Yeah, they're set in.
Good job.
Thanks.
I don't give him a chance to fall apart. Does that make sense? No problem. You can live on it all day long. See right there. Can you see that right there? I don't even give him a chance to make his own decision. That's what I want you guys to work on. So now he goes, oh, much easier to go straight than you spook. Christy, go up to that next one up there and just move it on. Just wave that pink thing.
Oh, jeez.
Pink one?
Yeah, the pink one.
Yeah.
Move it. Keep shaking it.
Kind of move it around.
So now, just move it around. See how he's going? He's all getting all stiff. So I'm just going, hey, keep moving. Wave it.
Oh my God.
See when I can do this and bend him away from it. I've got it. See that? Keep waving. Now he's like, oh, he spooked a little bit. Oh, I'll just bend you a little bit. So he's like, you gotta be kidding me.
Like that's too much work.
Way too much work. Thanks. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you. Okay, so I create this at my house. I don't wait until I go to the horse show. At my house, I have trees around my arena, plastic bags in the trees, kids walking around with plastic tarps going like this, okay, because that's what you're gonna get at the horse show.
Right.
So what you don't want is, so if the horse spooks at this, he's gonna want to do this, okay? Don't even think of trying to counter bend him the right way. You're never gonna get it done because he wants to look there and his body wants to go this way. So just go, oh, cool. You want to do that? Let's do it, but on my terms,
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
And then just keep bending him. Bend him again. Stretch him again. Go the other way. And then always give back to him. I know. So here's another exercise I'm going to show you that I do a lot with my horses. Just take a pole, either one of you guys, and just lay it right here. Just grab any one of you. Okay. I'm just trying to give you guys things to work with. That's perfect. Okay. So now, it is inside rein. I'm not doing anything with the outside rein. Okay. outside leg. Inside rein, outside leg. Inside rein, outside leg. Okay. This is a great exercise to do with all the horses. Okay, because follow this.
Yeah.
This is actually something that this is a Buck Brannaman exercise. He does it on the arena. I do it over poles. Okay. So all I'm asking you to do is bend and bend. Okay.
Figure
So
eight.
can you see the circle is about the size of the length of his body? You understand that? But see, all I'm doing is my legs don't really do anything, okay? Other than keeping him going. Look, my inside leg's not even on here. But my outside leg is moving here. Now I'm switching. My inside leg is off. My outside leg is just my engine leg. All I'm saying is follow this way, okay? Because when you put the bit on the track, it's mostly the inside part of the hand that it has to follow. Does that make sense? So this is an exercise that mine do. Most horses, depending on their training level, I can make circles like this in the walk, trot, and gait without them never losing balance. So this is, and when you start one, they're always going to want to make the circle on the stiffer side smaller and on the other side bigger. Because if the horse is stiff on the right, he wants to lean to the right, so that circle's going to be smaller. But when you're going left, it will still want to push to the right. So that circle's going to get bigger, okay? So now, I'm going to hop up. Tammy, you're going to hold this horse for a second.
Sure. Oh, sorry.
Okay, well, I'm just going to do some. Okay, Lily, this stuff hanging out is tacky. You either cut it off or you tuck it in. You understand? You don't show up like this anywhere. Not unless and not in a clinic anywhere. That's the fact. Okay, will you run the Stravine for me, please? Okay, so.
What she say?
Something sticking out.
So I'm just exercising.
White cat is supposed to be back underneath. That
White
she
cat.
says, no, I don't see.
Coming over here.
The blue?
That one looks blue, but there's a white one on that side.
Now,
Those shouldn't
this
be
is
just
what you want
standing
to
out
think
like
of,
that.
your bit having a connection to the horse, okay? So right now, what I want you to do is just gently start walking. Well, let's start with the okay. Okay, so hold this like you're holding a bit. Okay, so you're holding this like that. Okay, now can you feel there's a slight tension on you? Can you feel me? Touch it. You touch it. Okay, just kind of go like this with your feet. Okay, can you feel this tension? So now, can you feel what I'm doing? Okay, now let go. Okay, so now, don't move your hands. Okay, and I'm going to take the tension out. Put your hand on it. Can you still feel what I'm doing?
Barely.
Here.
Yeah.
Not to the same intensity.
Yeah.
Can you still feel what I'm doing? No. Okay. So this is the contact you have to have on the horse's mouth at any and all times. This is feeling the horse's mouth. Okay. So now, what I was teaching Shannon on her horses, okay, that's all you do is just feel the horse's mouth. Okay. So now, imagine this elasticity because this is folded. So this is elasticity. Okay. So now, I can go like this. Don't move the elbow. Okay, and I can put tension on it. The more educated the horse and the rider is, the more tension you can put on it because you coil your spring from the back to the front and then you allow it to glaciate. There's a lot of tension when you're riding down to a 5-foot ox or doing a Piaffe Passage, okay? But it's not negative tension, it's positive tension, okay? So now, I want you to just follow me. Okay, follow me. So can you feel how it's still safe, okay? So now, if one hand doesn't work properly,
Right.
that's what I was getting after you yesterday, okay? Because you're on, off, on, off, on, off. Any single time, that's good, Mary, thanks. Any single time, there is not this connection, okay? Whatever you're trying to tell the horse on that rein with this, it gets lost. Never arrives in the horse's mouth, okay? So now, just follow me. So, that's how the tension has to be. Your leg. What would I like you to do? Yes. Okay, now ready? Square, ready? Now just her line from her elbow to the ring is
there.
different. Yes. Okay. Look at my hand.
So good luck with him. He's a nice
Relax
boy.
your wrist.
Hmm?
Good luck with him
Oh, thank you.
for your daughter.
Thank you.
There. There. Feel that?
Hope he doesn't decide to take off on a journey, a land of spooky pink blankets.
Now relax. This is always relaxed. This never does this. Okay? Now hold the rein. Grip the rein. Okay, now all I'm going to do is now I haven't done anything other than done this. This way. Okay? So you don't want to be here. The hand is like this. Bring your hand down. Okay. Now all you're gonna do is bring it up. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so just this stays relaxed. You instantly want to do this. Just keep this. This is how the hand works. So you may put your fingers around this. Okay, relax your wrist. Relax your wrist. There you go. That's how it works, not this. You understand? Really important to find loads of fibers. Okay, put up again. Put up again. Okay, so it's right.
I have a bunch of these. So.
Yeah, I know. I always come up with all these different things. Okay, can you feel that? Now you have a correct connection to the horse's mouth. Okay, now follow me again, wherever I go. Okay, let's see, the minute you go backwards, you do this. Okay, look at your hand. There, good. Okay, now, okay, do you know what a Bosu ball is? You know what a Bosu ball is? I went in my car. I was going to buy it. So, you're going to buy a Bosu ball, and you're going to put your feet on the Bosu ball, teach him how to stand there like this, okay? And then you do this with him on the Bosu ball. The Bosu ball is the
Right.
okay. You got to go to your balance right here, okay? Because if you sit back like this, you go like this. Well, whatever, but you told me keep your wrist straight.
What? Oh.
Keep the rhythm.
Oh.
It might have been in the freezer. It was in the
Okay.
bottom of the bag.
Thank you.
Stay touched. Okay, that's better. Now feel how much more fluid that is. Okay. Feel the difference? Okay, that's what we want. That's a minute. A minute. Okay. Now look at this. You're exactly this way like this. Okay. So now just hold the pencil. Hold your finger. Hold the pencil. Even with the pen. Don't be empty. Close your eyes. Perfect. Okay, so now watch this. Okay, I'm gonna put this around you. Take your glasses on. Look up there. Close your eyes. And start to the side. Okay, so now this is the connection. Don't you open it. This is the connection your hand has to the horse's bit. I can put the bit back there. Okay, so now just in one, just really far forward. One. Okay, now just follow me. This is how you steer a horse. Can you see how she's perfectly following me? Yeah. Okay. Okay, now watch what happens. Okay, you understand?
Yeah.
See, the horses trust us blindly.
Right.
They're sitting back up there. Okay.
Right.
So when this connection, okay, the soft speed is made for light, okay? The horse says, oh, okay, I'll follow you. You're with me. Close your eyes. Walk. Okay, now watch this. Okay. Do you still feel where you're going?
No.
No. Same thing with a horse. You understand? Yeah. Come here, you do it.
So Megan,
I
after a couple of
use-
cocktails,
Right? Looks
So
like I've
I
had a few
use,
glasses
Megan,
of
I
wine.
use, ask Shannon, I use 1,000 metaphors like this. Because you gotta teach them to
Right.
relate it to something else. Okay?
They understand what.
That they understand. Close your eyes. Are they closed? Now you don't even know what to do anymore, right? Because there's no direction. Does that make sense? Okay. Now. Does that make sense? It makes no sense, does it? The metaphor makes sense. Okay, open your eyes. Does that So
I like that one. But
That's pretty
you
fun.
gotta you gotta get them to feel it. That's what's so hard about our sport is because it's a feeling sport. If you've never felt what the horse on the haunches, 90% of riders have never felt what the horses on the haunches meant. Never felt when they are loading the haunches and climbing in front. Because that's the last phase of everything. Okay, so now, okay, I'm just gonna attach, I'm gonna just put this bit up here, Klaus, real quick, okay? And I'm gonna attach this. We're gonna do this in a minute with you on top of it. This is, oh my God, demo porno. Okay, I don't like these devices at all, okay? Thank God Shannon had one in her barn. Okay, I don't use these devices, okay? But they're good for demonstration. So, if I take this bit, I'm gonna make you do it here in a minute. If you take the bit, okay, here, and now, can you see how the bit exactly mimics what Klaus is doing? Okay, now I straighten out the bed. He straightens. I make the bit go this way. So see now, I gotta make sure that I have enough tension to tell him, hey, this is, I wanna bend, you bend. There he goes. And then I give. Can you see that? Okay, so now, with your lateral aids, okay, when you're asking him to, in the bend, he's bending, but he's wanting to drift out of your outside aids, just laterally shift everything over. See how it just got, the outside range has got to be a barrier, but don't straighten it out, because see what he does?
yeah.
Immediately straightens his head. Okay, it's exactly the same thing when you're, exactly the same thing happens when you're on the horse, okay? So once they understand that the bit up there and the bit in the horse's mouth, Lily, go ahead and get on. When the bit, and actually Megan, why don't you get on? Hang on, let's have Megan get on.
How many holes do you know?
I don't know. The bit in the horse's mouth has to absolutely exactly mimic what the bit in your hand does, the imaginary bit in your hand does. Okay?
Felt like I'd had a few cocktails.
You said you're trusting speed.
Or you can just get it on the fence post.
Yeah. Oh, really? Which one? E-Rock. You know what he does most in his barn? Look. I can't remember which one he has right now.
So pretty.
So Lily, when I was in Germany, I read articles about what his training program is. His horse would hardly ever jump at home. Okay, so Megan, are we on? Megan, I just want to go, just so we're all on the same page here. So, Lily, okay. Just so we all know the same thing. Okay. So, Megan, what's flexion? Define that. The neck going left or right?
Bending through the neck, not through the
Okay, for me, flexion is the neck staying straight and only the pole doing this and this. So is that what you meant to say? Yeah, okay. So the flexion, when I'm flexing my horse, I'm asking him to do this from here. And this should be no further out than this, okay? So, Lily, what is, how do you, and if you don't know the answer, just say, I don't know, okay? This is not a test. It's just knowing where we're all on the same page with all of this stuff, okay? So, flexion is, and that's like, so when I teach young riders, young horses, flexion is the first thing everybody learns, okay? Because you need flexion for shoulder in, haunches in, lead changes, flying changes, simple changes, traverse, everything, okay? So flexion is only doing this. So my shoulder stays the same, and I'm just doing this, okay? Now, how do I structure a shoulder in? Let me ask a question first. What's the difference between a shoulder in and a shoulder four? Do you know what a shoulder four is? No. Shoulder four is the predecessor to the shoulder in. So a shoulder four, a young horse, I would teach a young horse a shoulder four. How many tracks in the shoulder in? 3 tracks in the shoulder in, because this is what I do in the shoulder in. I walk on the straightaway, then I have my track going. Come here, I'll show you. Okay, so I'm the rear end of the horse. Turn this way. Lily's the front end of the horse, okay? So, stand straight. Okay, so first I turn my head slightly this way. Can you turn your head without your shoulder? Look at that, it works. Okay, so now, start walking forward. So now, straight forward, straight, 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 straight. Okay, now can you see I walk both in the same track? Okay, now halt. Okay, so now I'm going to ask her to slightly pin her nose to the inside, and I'm going to move her off the track, okay? So now can you see stop? Can you see how this leg, and this leg have different tracks? Okay, that's your shoulder in. Okay, so now the shoulder is turned this way. My haunch, I'm the horse's haunches. It's still perpendicular to the track, okay? Now keep walking. Can you see that? That is shoulder in. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Shoulder four is a lesser degree of it, okay? And in dressage, if anybody's interested, you have riding in position, which is even a lesser degree of it. So an inexperienced rider or an inexperienced horse, I will start with the shoulder four, which is simply a lesser degree. It's called shoulder four because it's before the shoulder in, and it has 4 tracks instead of 3 tracks, okay? So then what part of the horse's body am I stretching with the shoulder in? Yeah, everything from the saddle to the pole. Okay, so then, what is the haunches in? Okay, you want to be my front end again? Okay, cool. Turn around. Okay, so now, which direction does the horse's head look in the haunches in?
Straight forward, right?
What do you think?
Straight.
Okay. Correctly, technically out of the textbook, it's a slight flexion to the inside, okay? It's not this, okay? But it's ever so slightly flexed to the inside. That's how it all starts. It starts with a little flexion to the inside, just to the point of the shoulder, okay? So then, she's my front end, okay? So my outside leg would go back, start walking. My outside leg would go back and shift the haunches to the inside. Does that make sense? So now, how many tracks do I have? 3. Okay. So if you look it up in the textbooks, it's slightly to the inside. Okay, because when it's slightly to the inside, you get more stretch through the back, okay? So that's flexion, shoulder in, haunches in, okay? So now in haunches out, obviously in shoulder out, same thing the other direction, okay? So now I have a leg yield. What's a leg yield? Yes. Okay. Which way is my horse's head looking in the leg yield? What would you consider the inside? If I want my horse, see, if I want my horse to yield this direction, which way is the nose looking? Left. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, it's looking the same direction as you're yielding the horse away from. Otherwise, it's very physiologically very difficult for the horse to do, okay? So the nose is slightly bent to the inside. Same thing, it's flexion, barely. And then my inside leg asks the horses to do this, okay? Now, counter canter. Talked about that the other day. Okay, which way is my horse bend in the counter canter? Yeah, opposite the direction that I'm going. Okay, what's my dominant aid in the counter canter? Which one? Remember, you have all your aids always work together, but one's dominant and the other ones are subservient or less dominant to that. So in the counter canter, this is my counter canter. Which is my least, which is the aid I want to be the softest on? In which one, if I'm cantering to the right and going to the left, which is my inside rein? Huge mistake. Megan, you know, right? Okay. When you teach little pony kids up and down classes, you teach them the posting diagonal to rise and fall with the shoulder on the wall, okay? When you are beyond that, the inside is always to the inside of the bend of the horse. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is why I ask all these questions, Megan, because if she thinks the left leg's the inside leg, she will never get it right. It's the only reason. It's not like trying to say, you know, I know more than you do. It's simply trying to assert information. That's why I ask a gazillion of them. Where are we at? Okay, so if I'm cantering to the right, my horse is bent to the, if I'm cantering on the right lead. Lily, you with me? I'm cantering on the right lead. My horse is bent like this, correct? But I'm going that direction. So this is my inside leg, okay? Because it's bent around my inside leg, correct? Okay, so now, which is the aid that is the softest? When you are cantering to the right, just think it this way. When you're cantering to the right, okay, and my horse is off my inside leg onto my outside aids, I have a nice lovely canter. Which is the rein that I can drop? The inside rein. It's still the same when you counter canter. Okay, this is what a lot of people make the mistake, okay? Remember yesterday we talked about counter bend, and I said don't you let that rein touch that neck, okay? Because the minute that rein does this, the horse gets put onto different front end, and then it has to do this. Does that make sense? Because you pull on here, and it has to do this, you're going to lose lead, okay? Because where do I want my horse's haunches to be in the counter canter? Out. I want his horses to be here. So if I pull on this rein, okay, that becomes an antagonist to this leg. The horse is going to have to do this. Okay, so this is the aid that I always want to be the softest on. Just like in the counter bend, my inside leg to my outside rein holds the shape. My outside leg keeps the momentum and the haunches in there. Okay, this is why I ask all these questions, okay? Because if you would have thought that left was your inside rein and you were starting to pull on it, it wouldn't work. Does that make sense? So then, when I go from left lead canter, we're cantering on left lead canter to the left now, and I'm going to do a flying change. Tell me the sequence of aids. No. Again. Yeah, I'm on the left feet. I'm cantering across the diagonal, and I want to change to the right. Tell me, I want the exact sequence of 8.
Okay, so you're on the left feet across the diagonal.
Yeah.
So your right leg is back, your left leg is forward.
Mm-hmm.
You want to start to balance. And then shift your weight out, shift your leg, and reshift your step.
Okay. Give those legs a name. Which leg does what?
So you're gonna go from your inside leg is left leg.
Mm-hmm.
And so that one's going to want to drop back, and then outside leg's going to come forward. So then you
Wait. I'm going to the left, okay? So now I'm changing to the right. Go in the sequence. When does what happen? What's the first thing you do? What's the very first thing I got to do in a classical correct flying change?
you're going to get the balance on your high jump.
How do you do that?
A little hop hop.
Okay, are you still on the left lead?
Yeah.
Okay, and then?
And then half ball.
It's hard to have to think about it, Megan, when you do it. But Megan, you gotta learn to completely articulate it in complete sequence, okay? That's the only way they're gonna get it. I'm not making this hard for you because we just do it by feel, okay? But if you want to teach it to somebody, you gotta break it down, okay? So take me through all the steps.
Okay. So you're going to half ball from your outside right, or your left leg goes to
Yeah.
your inside leg.
Yeah.
And then you're going to want to bring your inside leg back. Right.
Wait a second. Tell me what your inside leg is.
Left.
Okay. And then?
And right leg comes forward.
Okay.
And then step out.
What do you mean by step out?
Shift your weight to your outside.
Okay.
And essentially your hip bend.
Okay, so I'm going to give you my version of it, because that's the only thing that horse knows, okay? So, and this is what's in the textbooks. So when you are, remember how we did bending, counter bending, and how you change from left to right? My biggest thing is, when my inside leg goes forward, what do I want my horse to do? What's the one thing my inside leg in all the exercises, what does my inside leg do? What does the horse have to go? It has to shift its weight onto the new outside rein and shoulder, okay? That's the whole entire purpose of teaching him that inside leg. So when I'm cantering to the left, okay, now he's on the left lead, okay? So now, and the whole entire timing is hard because you want to do it in the flight phase, okay? But it's a little too hard to explain that until they know the mechanics of it, okay? So the mechanics of it is that if you start with the new inside leg back, okay, then you're moving the haunches before you told the shoulder what to do. But it is the shoulder, if my new inside leg moving forward, it's what's shifting the shoulder onto your new outside rein. Does that make sense? Because if you're doing, that's what we've been doing here the whole entire time, okay? So when you're doing this, you go from this, your new inside leg goes forward, it asks the horse to go onto your, pushing the weight onto the outside front leg and onto the outside rein, then simultaneously, and then your bit is slightly like this, okay? Then I have freed up the hind end in order to, for my outside leg to do this. And if you've done it correctly from the inside leg to the outside rein, the horse automatically is going to want to do that because otherwise he's off balance. Does that make sense? So, and it's all forward. So it's really important that you understand the correct sequence of it, okay? Because if your horse is still bent left and you put your outside leg back, okay, you're making a question mark out of it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And see, this is where in teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching, if you miss that step, you will never be successful with this, okay? So that's why I always hold all of my students absolutely completely accountable to the sequence of everything, okay? Because if you're here and you move your inside leg forward and you hold that bit on the new track, this horse will automatically change up, okay? You don't even have to do anything much with your outside leg, okay? He will automatically change up, okay? So, flexion, everybody knows, right? We know what flexion is. We know what bending is, okay? We know what shoulder in are. We know what haunches in are, okay? We know what counter canter is. What's the trot equivalent to counter canter? Counter bend, okay? So, and that is where in the counter bend, you're teaching them to do that, because you can get flying changes without ever touching the reins. Because all you got to do is shift the shoulder over, then they'll do the flying change, okay? So that's what you want to do, because it's a leg exercise, not a hand exercise, okay? So flexion, shoulder in, haunches in, leg yield. So what's the difference between the leg yield and the traverse? Okay, what is the traverse?
That's a good question.
Okay, a traverse, it's an upper level dressage move, which I do a lot with my jumpers, because we were taught in Germany, that's why Michael just won, okay, is because the 1 meter 50 horses in Germany all can do most likely a Brise and George dressage test. Because as your jumps go up, okay, so does your technical difficulty in between. So I got to be able to get the horse to supple, soften, shorten, lengthen a lot more, okay? So the traverse is basically, it's, you know, you've all seen it. It's when the horse goes sideways like this. This is the traverse. You've all seen that, okay? Okay? So in the traverse, it's basically a flexion to the left, a shoulder in, and a haunches in, okay? In German, it's called Traversale, coming from the traverse versus renverse, okay? That's basically what it is. And it's, again, nothing other than a listen to my leg, listen to my hand, listen to my shoulder exercise. That is what all these exercises are. They're not a means in an end. We use these exercises to supple the horse, so at the end of the day, we got what we want. Oh, do we understand that? Any questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
The
So
peanut
now-
gallery. The peanut gallery.
What?
So in the traverse, you want the haunch and the shoulder in
Yeah,
the
but
direction of their lead.
yes, but the way it's supposed to go is the nose leads the shoulder and the haunches follows that. So if you do the traverse and this goes past the shoulder, if the haunches go further in than the shoulder, it's wrong. It's always the nose,
shoulder still leads it.
the shoulder, the nose leads it and the shoulder, and then the haunch follows. And you yeah, like this. It's just the horse is bent like this, but your outside, it's outside leg driven. This just holds the angle of the shoulder. Your outside leg drives the outside hind across the inside front, and the shoulder has no other choice but doing the same thing. Okay, it's just physiologically impossible for the horse to do anything else. Okay, so yes, in the United States they call it a half pass. In Europe they call it a traversale.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, yeah, so you know what a half pass is. Yeah, exactly the same thing. So, Megan, I want you to go out there and just trot him